All right, this is Ubaid on behalf of Electronics, and in this video, we'll be talking about crowding out of physical capital investment. So, the theory of crowding out says as budget deficit goes up, okay, government spending goes up, government borrowing goes up. Okay, what do we have over here? Okay, so if government borrowing goes up, government spending goes up, investment in capital will go down. So, investment in capital goes down. All right, so that has to do with the theory of crowding out. As budget deficit goes up, government spending goes up, government borrowing goes up, investment in capital goes down. All right, now as investment in capital goes down, so does the growth of GDP because investment in capital makes up a big chunk of GDP. And in certain countries, a lot of this investment has to do with investment in new capital. Okay. So, for example, if you do make an investment, if there is a capital investment involved, okay, it's possible the capital investment may be to replace or fix a machine or equipment that has been worn out or that needs repair. Okay. Which means you're not really adding a new machine or equipment. Okay. The old machine will produce the same amount of work as before, which means there is no new production. So the production is not going up because of capital investment, which means it's not going to grow the GDP. The GDP is not going to grow. All right, for the GDP to grow, you need to have new capital investments, which means okay, that if you're investing 10% of the GDP, 10% of nation's GDP, in physical capital, such as equipment, machinery, so on and so forth, it's possible that 8% of that physical capital would be on worn out or machine that is depreciating. So machine that needs repair or maintenance. So 8% could be on worn out equipment. And when you spend money on worn out equipment, okay, so worn out capital, when you spend money on worn out capital, okay, you don't have GDP growth. So the GDP does not grow because the capital is used for production. And the same capital will be able to produce the same amount of units as before. All right. This is if you fix the machine, for example. If a machine was producing 10 units last year and it needs repair, and let's say you use 5% or 8% of the capital to repair the machine will still produce the same amount of units as last year, which means your GDP is not going anywhere. Okay, you still have 8 units being produced or 10 units being produced by the same machine that was working last year. So the GDP is not going anywhere. All right. However, so this is stays the same. There is no growth. However, if you were to use 8% of that capital for new machinery, you now have an additional machine or equipment to produce more. Okay, so if you were producing 8 or 10 units before, let's say last year, you can now produce an additional 8 or 10 units, which brings your total to 20 units. Okay, if you count 10. So if you invest 8% on a new machine, your production will go up. Okay, and GDP will grow. So GDP goes up. All right. So that would be it for the theory of crowding out. On behalf of Electronics, this is Obey. Have yourself a great day.